Hello there, Itra here. Today's video is going to be covering off city attractiveness. We're going to be showing you how to increase the attractiveness of your city through normal ways. I'll also be showing you some extra ways you can actually increase it utilizing trade unions and town halls with certain items equipped. And I'll briefly be going over some of the negative effects of the city attractiveness. There'll be another video covering this, how you can counteract these later on. I'll also be covering off how city attractiveness is actually utilized. So let's have a look at how we actually use attractiveness. The first place you can utilize and use the attractiveness stat is in the tourism DLC, and that is with the actual hotels. And one of their requirements for their happiness is attractiveness. You'll need to hit 2,200 attractiveness on the island for the full unlock of the plus 15 happiness to the tourists. The second place you can utilize the attractiveness is through the Seat of Power DLC. Links down below for a video covering off how powerful the palace can actually be. So in the palace you'll have different tabs across here, and you'll be able to choose a policy, and depending on how much attractiveness, up to 9,000, you'll be able to unlock all of the policies in each of these tabs here, which will have a buff or a reduction or a stat increase. And then there'll also be a departmental effect, which will start at a base level and then will go up to fully being unlocked at 33,000 attractiveness on the actual town. And the last place is through the public mooring, and that is the specialist visitors that can arrive at your city. For the special visitors that can arrive at the city, the attractiveness can actually increase the likely chances of this to actually happen. And as you can see here, we have the ranking of the attractiveness and the percentage increase of a visitor that could appear. You can increase this with cultural set pieces or harbour masters' offices to increase this past the attractiveness cap of 42%. So when you do actually have somebody turn up at the island, depending on what grade of attractiveness in the city, as you can see here, these are the attractiveness levels here. Depending on what grade you are on here on your attractiveness, up to 7,600, will unlock different types of people that can turn up. And as you can see here, it'll start out at the fair grade, and you'll have a 70% chance of a common and a 30% chance of uncommon. There'll be a link in the description down to the wiki page for this. So this is where you can actually utilize the attractiveness. So if you want to check on how you actually get to know your city's attractiveness, you can hover the mouse over this here, and it'll tell you what your rank is and your current attractiveness. And you can click on it, and you can actually see where you're actually getting this. When you're in the overview menu here, you can actually see your overall attractiveness on the city, and you will see the positives at the top and the negatives down below. Instability will be in regards to whether there is riots, illness, fires, or whether you're at war with people. The pollution is going to be obviously items that are going to be, or buildings that are putting out pollution. And then vulgarity will be unsightly buildings, whether it be smelly, noisy, or just destroyed buildings. More on these ones in a future video. Now, if there is a festival on in the city which is unlocked through the happiness of your population, depending on what sort of festival they have going on, you can have an increase up here. You can also have nature, and this can come from being a dream location, because I have everything and high levels of attractiveness. Natural unpopulated grassland or natural trees can be placed down. You can plant normal trees as well, and that'll increase the nature value on the actual island. And then we also have culture, and as you can see, this is the big one for me. You don't need to get your attractiveness up to this high, it's just this is what it's naturally come to with the items I have on the island. Now as you can see here, we have limestone is bringing some in, so is the clay pits, and the members clubs have a natural innate attractiveness. Variety theatres, the research institute, all these buildings here are increasing the attractiveness. Some of the buildings over here will be having extra attractiveness or just any attractiveness through town hall or trade union items. And then we also have the cultural sets, which, as you can see here, we are bringing in quite a lot through the Botanical Museum and the zoo. However, as you can see, my biggest increase is actually through town halls. Now, you can also get attractiveness from natural ornaments and through the palace wings. Each palace wing you put down will be 15 attractiveness. The Docklands has a attractiveness of each individual building or Docklands module that you have put down and connected. And all let's say, all the ornaments you place down can have a tiny amount. So if we have a look at some of the bigger number ones here very quickly. So the biggest overall positive for attractiveness in the actual city is through the cultural and the palace system. So the biggest one for me for the palace is going to be completing cultural set pieces is going to get me an extra 250 attractiveness of the cultural set piece. So if we have a look here, we've got 9,209 attractiveness, and we have all the cultural set pieces completed over here. If I take this out of the module in the palace, that 9,200 will drop down to 4,700 just from that one policy, and that will stack for the zoos, museums, and botanical as well. So you can be losing out over 10,000 attractiveness probably just with that one policy. Let's put that back in. The next one for me personally is in the Crown Falls, is the 200 extra attractiveness for every single town hall on the actual island. So if we have a look here, I have 64 town halls, and I have town halls dotted even in the actual production section over here just to boost the actual overall attractiveness. They don't need to be here, it is just boosting the attractiveness up. And as you can see before, we had 14,000 attractiveness purely just from the actual town halls. Now the actual trade unions were also bringing in a significant amount of attractiveness into the city as well. So if we find a trade union, as you can see here, we're getting 60 attractiveness from the trade union. Not from any of the people in here, it's just from the actual trade unions. And that is because of the Gods of the Delta, which is giving me plus 30 on the attractiveness. If we have a look at the actual Gods of the Delta set piece over here real quick, it is a mandatory one for the museum. It is an insanely powerful set piece. Town halls and trade unions get 30 attractiveness, and you get 10 points of influence back. So you're halving the cost of your town halls and trade unions and getting extra attractiveness. We also had the rainforest buff as well, which is trade unions here, extra attractiveness as well, plus 30. So that's why I was getting 60 of every single trade union as well, and we have 56 on the island. So just having the trade unions and the town halls and those buffs running together can get you up to that 33,000 attractiveness very easy without even taking in all the other attractiveness from the actual individual set pieces. Now to briefly go back to the palace, there is another option you can utilize. In the 4th tab, I normally use the power increase on the power plants. You can also, if you want, if you have artisans and engineers on the island, you can also get an extra 3 attractiveness for each individual house. It's not artisans, it's the actual buildings. So there are 1 or 2 other little ways you can actually artificially increase the attractiveness of your city. The first one we're going to be looking at is the school buff. Now, as you can see here, we have a load of schools down here around a town hall, and in the town hall we are using Anno, which is increasing attractiveness by 12, a Crimble's Coral Society poster, which is increased by 10, and then the classroom charter increasing by 15. So now each of the schools is generating 37 attractiveness. So if we have a look back at the attractiveness level over here, we were getting nothing from any of the skills because we didn't have any down before anyway. So the skills are now generating, just from those 3 items, 1,665 attractiveness. You just have to have those 3 items and you just can plonk this down. They don't even need roads touching them. They just need to be in range of the trade union. Sorry, town hall. The trade union is the next one we're going to have a look at. So now we're in the items stats page here. If we do attractiveness, unknown, and select all the trade union items, these are all the trade union items that have a positive or negative effect on attractiveness. Now we're going to be having a quick look at a few of them. The first one is this one here, which is Old World Alcohol Building. So you could use this on the schnapps distilleries, same as you would with the school that I just showed you. Or alternatively, you could do the champagne and utilize her as well to get 3 extra attractiveness. The other 2 that we're going to be having a quick look at is going to be from the tourists quests. This affects the vineyards and can boost the attractiveness by 20 per individual building that you have in range. And the same up here for all grain, peppers, potatoes, cherries, and hop farms. Now for this one, you're going to want to be utilizing, if you're going to be stacking them together, the grain or the peppers, as they are a 3x3. And all you want to do is actually stack them on top of each other. They don't need to have any form of plots down or growth or anything like that. They just need to actually be in range of a trade union. And as you can see, we're getting the 10 attractiveness here, which is all those adding up to 760 attractiveness just from all the potato farms down here. And again, you could do the same with the vineyards, and that was 20, and it's a slightly different shape on that, so you will be able to get even more out of that. And then there is one other option we can have a quick look at. The last thing we'll cover off is temporary attractiveness buffs. And they're going to be coming in 2 main ways. The first one is through the World Fair. You'll get 150 for having it up. However, when you actually complete a World Fair exhibition, depending on which one you pick and its grade and how well you get into the ranking, will increase the temporary attractiveness that can be happening. You can tell there'll be fireworks going off on top of it. The alternative way is through general town carnivals or festivals like we have over here. We have a town carnival ongoing at the moment, which is increasing by 250 attractiveness. So there are ways you can increase attractiveness as well. If you did enjoy this overview on the attractiveness of your city, I do appreciate any likes on the videos and any subscriptions to the channels. Feel free to comment down below if there's another video you would like me to cover off next. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.